My fiancé demanded I give her parents shares in my company as a wedding gift, so I refused quietly, and what I exposed ended her family's illusion of power. When I met Jenna, she had an effortless charm and sharp ambition. I was drawn to her confidence, believing I'd found a partner who understood the grind. But early on, she scoffed at my long hours and called my hustle obsessive. I laughed it off, thinking she just wanted time together. Looking back, those weren't jokes, they were warning signs. My attorney friend Olivia raised an eyebrow, but I brushed it aside. 6 months into dating, Jenna invited me to dinner with her parents. They asked me bluntly how much I earned, what assets I owned, and how serious I was about providing. I smiled politely, dodging their questions, but the vibe was undeniable. They weren't curious, they were sizing me up. Jenna later laughed, calling it just old school concern. Olivia again warned me they're not asking about love, they're asking about leverage. It started small. Jenna mentioned how her parents dreamed of owning just a slice of a tech company. Then came the hypothetical, wouldn't it be meaningful if you gifted them shares as part of our union? I laughed, but her eyes didn't. Olivia warned me again, that's not tradition, it's a transaction. Still, I chalked it up to family pride. I didn't see the chessboard for me until it was nearly checkmate. Soon, Jenna's mother began dropping hints. We'd love to be more involved in Aaron's vision. Her father suggested meeting my board. I hadn't invited them. When I asked Jenna, she shrugged. They're just excited. It felt orchestrated, not organic. Olivia said, they're positioning themselves as stakeholders. I started feeling cornered, but told myself I was being paranoid. I didn't want to believe my fiancé was playing puppet master behind my back. Jenna booked a private dinner to talk business. Over wine, she pitched it like a merger, my company, her family's legacy. It's symbolic, she said, an honor to them. My stomach twisted. I said no. She leaned in, smiled, and whispered, then maybe we're not aligned long term. I blinked. That was her first clear threat. Olivia's voice echoed in my mind. Leverage wears a pretty face until it snaps shut. The pressure escalated. Jenna's dad sent over a draft contract, an informal gesture outlining the share transfer. I hadn't agreed to anything. Jenna downplayed it. He's just excited. My chest tightened. Olivia reviewed it and said bluntly, they're locking you in. I confronted Jenna, asking why this was so important. She snapped, because it shows commitment. That word commitment had become currency in her hands. I started to see the engagement ring as a contract, not love. A week before the engagement party, Jenna delivered an ultimatum: include my parents on the cap table, or I'll reconsider walking down the aisle. My pulse pounded. I asked, is this a wedding or a buyout? She called me dramatic. Olivia looked at me across her desk and said, you either draw a line now or spend your life negotiating your worth. That night, I stared at the guest list, feeling like I didn't belong on it. I asked Jenna to meet at my office, neutral ground. As she sat across from me, I handed her a folder, prenup terms, no equity transfers. She scanned it, lips tightening. So this is your final answer? I nodded. You don't trust me, she said. I don't trust pressure dressed as love, I replied. She stood slow and cold. Then there's no wedding. I didn't stop her. That silence was my loudest boundary yet. The next morning, I found the engagement ring on my kitchen counter. No note, no goodbye. My chest was heavy, but also calm. Olivia called and said, that was strength, not loss. Still, I expected backlash. Instead, I got silence. Jenna went dark, no calls, no texts. I thought maybe she understood, respected the boundary. I was wrong. That silence was just the beginning of her next move, not the end of the story. I couldn't finish the whole story in this short. The full story is on my channel and link below.